I'm born and raised in Dumaguete. Silence isn't such a bad thing. Just to break the stigma, those rules are like what I don't want personally. They call it the Ten Commandments of Hemingway. Actually graduated as a sound engineer. Nobody knows what a sound engineer does in the Philippines. And I finally found a client that can afford me myself. The world now is a very loud place, and silence is a luxury now.
Hey YouTube, Alex here, and in today's video we're going down to the Hemingway Cafe here in Dumaguete in the Daro neighborhood. Hemingway is a quiet cafe. Everything is set up to be quiet for people who are neurodivergent or who are introverted. It's a really relaxing space. On a side note, this is the business that I'm most excited about here in Dumaguete, and I found my experience there to be very calming. I noticed one positive recent review said that after they spent some time there, it felt like they had gotten a massage. If you're in Dumaguete, or even if you're in other parts of the Philippines, you come here to visit Dumaguete, I recommend going to check it out if you want a quiet space. I loved it. I will definitely be going back there. The owner, Jerry, is a really thoughtful guy. He's really put a lot into this cafe. You can tell if you go there, everything is meticulously planned, and I look forward to returning soon. So without further ado, it may sound like we are whispering, but we are only doing so to be considerate of the customers in the establishment. Let's get to meet Jerry.
So thank you so much for having us today. We're here at the Hemingway Cafe. I want to take an opportunity to introduce you to the owner here. He's going to share a bit about himself and the cafe.
Hey, I'm Jerry. I'm the owner of Hemingway Coffee Lounge. Start off, I think I should say that I was diagnosed as ADHD and autism a couple of years back, maybe three years back, and I think that started why I conceptualized a place like this to help me with my overstimulation. I have severe anxiety when it comes to noise and overcrowdedness, and I think that's why it's not usual to have a place in the Philippines like this. So that's why I saw the problem, and I was trying to find a solution, and this is Hemingway.
How has the response been so far? Do you feel, how has the response been so far?
It was mixed response at first. The ND community has been loving it so far. I've had people come here and say they've been waiting for some place like this to open in Dumaguete. And some neurotypical people have also, came here, checked it out, and realized, silence isn't such a bad thing. Being alone with your thoughts is not such a bad thing, and being in a place that's actually not overstimulating is actually good. Although there are people who still prefer to have the loud music, loud conversations, or even like groups in a table, because we're limiting our other people sitting in the table, limiting it to maximum of 2 people, to minimize the possibility of them being too noisy or too rowdy. So, there are some people who came here in the first few weeks who never came back. Those were the people who, how do I put this slightly? Those are the people who are okay with the other establishments. They have their place. They already claimed their own place in other cafes or in other restaurants. The people who came here and keep coming back, I think they finally found their place. A place they can finally claim their own, especially the introverts and the neurodivergents.
To me, it's incredible. I've been to many different establishments here in the Philippines, and Um, I find the culture here to be very welcoming and very friendly and fun-loving, but I'm also prone to overstimulation. I'm prone to getting like racing thoughts or um, wanting to just slow my mind down, and um, I know I'll definitely be a regular here. Uh, I'm also telling my friends about it because it's just very unexpected, very welcomed, very welcomed, but also very unexpected. Do you feel like a cafe like this can help to? Um, I'm Asian American, and I think that often we don't talk about mental health in our community. And I think the younger generations are changing that. Do you feel like a cafe like this can help to kind of start some of those conversations talking about things like autism or ADHD?
Actually, if you check our page in Instagram and Facebook, before we opened this, we were actually um, putting some infographics about neurodivergence, autism, ADHD, bipolar, and the likes. Um, that's definitely one of Hemingway's goals moving forward. Just to break the stigma of mental health, especially in the Philippines, um, to let people know that it's not it's not made up. Um, it's real. People have it. People are experiencing it, and aside from that, and that it's okay to talk about it. As there's nothing shameful. There's nothing shameful to talk about it or to admit that or to have yourself diagnosed or have yourself checked. And another goal that we want to have here is to have the neurodivergence know that there are other people like us in the community. We hardly see each other because we hardly go to these kinds of places. We don't have these kinds of places at all. So it's nice to have. I've met a few people who came here and said that, and that message the page that says, "Hey, I'm Andy, and thank you for." Uh, like I think around more than 10 people have already messaged like from Dumaguete. Yeah. Could you excuse me for a while? I need to let them going back. Um, yeah, I think this would help the neurodivergents have a sense of community, and hopefully we'll see where it goes from there.
You have 8 rules here that I think you put a lot of thought into. What made you choose those rules over other rules? Like, what kind of prompted you to set those boundaries?
Well, first of all, um, those rules are like what I don't want personally. Like what makes me overstimulated? It's the noise. What makes visually overstimulated? People moving around fast and changing the tables and those sorts of stuff. That's one of the reasons why I chose those shoes. Second reason is I did a survey online, asked other neurodivergents if they had a place, what would they want to implement, and it's funny because most of us have the same, a little similar, like similar wants and um, things we don't want, and so we kind of looked at all those answers and said, okay, so these 10 are probably the most important ones. So that's why we put we call it the 10 Commandments of Hemingway. So yeah.
So I have a lot of positive feelings about Dumaguete, but there's also a lot of wonderful places in the Philippines. Why choose Dumaguete over I don't know, maybe a different place? Like, are you from here in Dumaguete?
I'm born and raised in Dumaguete. Yeah. So if I had to choose, I mean, start here, like, and also I think it's much more expensive to start in the bigger cities. So I mean, at least make an impact in my hometown.
So I know that you have the ground rules here, but I also sense that you've made some conscious choices in decor. This might be the quietest place I've been in this entire city, and I've lived here for 6 months. What are some of the conscious choices of furniture? You mentioned not wanting, for example, people to be kind of rushing around. How does the furniture contribute to fostering a peaceful environment?
Well, number one, the layout is set in a way that there are visible paths, like big enough paths for people to pass by and not squeeze themselves between tables. If you noticed, um, yeah, it's there are visible paths you can go through and not bump other people. Um, and then again, we're limiting people to 2 people per table. So that's also like one thing that makes it less cluttered. And then I'm actually graduated as a sound engineer, Berkeley, Boston. Yeah. So I applied what I learned there in acoustics with these acoustic panels, acoustic paints, acoustic flooring. It also helps with how the noise and the sound works inside. I even joked with the staff that because I never had a job as a sound engineer here in the Philippines. Nobody knows what a sound engineer does in the Philippines. An acoustician does. So I joked with them. I finally found a client that can afford me myself. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, even the paint is acoustic paint. Um, the panels. I purposely chose wood rather than metal for the tables because it also absorbs some sound. The materials. Yeah. So when you ask me if how much consideration I did a lot of consideration in terms of the materials used.
You mentioned hiring neurodivergent staff. Was it important to you as part of your mission to bring people on board that could understand or you could relate to?
Yeah, that's actually one of the things when we started when we started the applications, or like seeking out people to work here. I didn't specify that if you were neurodivergent, you can apply here, but going through the applications, I just I actually if I remember correctly, most of the applicants I went through and interviewed, and it was during the interview period when I started to mentally check off those. Okay, okay, he can talk well. He's one of the baristas actually. It's funny because I um I put a note on her interview sheet. She's clearly ADHD, like, like clearly ADHD. As we were doing the interview, and you can see she was looking around. Listen, she can talk to me or she can answer my questions, but she was just like talking, and it's like okay, she has a bigger chance of getting in here. So from I think close to 100 applicants, we got it down to about 6, and then those 6 were, if not officially diagnosed, but peer reviewed. Yeah. So, and aside from that, we also we also got some deaf people here to work. So um, so it's not just mental. We're not just accommodating for people with mental health um, things. We also the physical and dare I say emotional trauma. So yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
You're making perfect sense. I've already had one friend get really excited. I just told him about it tonight before I came here, and he said, "Does such a place really exist?" He's another foreigner like myself, and um, I suspect neurodivergent. I haven't asked him about that, but I just kind of have my suspicion. This has got to be like the first of its kind. I mean, I've never heard of it. It's very, very early, but I envision a future where this is more common, that this kind of idea spreads around, because it's so hard to find a place like this. What are your hours, and what do you serve, and also how can people find you?
Okay, so we open. Our hours are from 12 noon to 12 midnight. Yeah, I specifically chose those times because I usually wake up at around 11, and I know most ND people also wake up late, or at least have a hard time waking up early. So, and our brains usually function more, I mean, from this time to midnight or even to early morning. So that's why I chose that. Um, for now, we are serving some pastries and cookies, just basic cafe food, basic coffees, some matcha because it's been heavily requested by people to have matcha here, and some teas, like loose leaf teas. Yeah, and then if you want to come and check us out, we are in Diego de la Viña Street, NST building, in Daro, Dumaguete. You can just Google us and you can find us there. And when you're here in the area, you can just look up and find the H. It's people have been dubbing it the bat signal for neurodivergence. Like, just look up, find the H, and you're gonna be home.
Well, thank you so much for introducing this. Can you share any final thoughts or final words for us tonight before we wrap up?
So I just realized I never explained why I call it Hemingway in the first place. So just to bring it full circle, I called it Hemingway, not because of the author, not about Ernest Hemingway. If you can notice, it's a different spelling. I spelled it with two M's. Our Hemingway is two M's. So it's more on, you know what a hem is, right? Like for the cloth, a hem. A hem is usually there so that the cloth won't run, or the thread in the cloth won't run. So that's why we call this Hemingway, because this is the place for our thoughts, to hem our thoughts so that it won't run and we can calm down, relax, be grounded, and probably be a beautiful sleep or something. So yeah, it's just so that our thoughts won't unravel that much outside, because the world now is a very loud place, and silence is a luxury now. So yeah, Hemingway, because it's to hem our thoughts, to make it smooth and clean and to reset. Yeah, that's it. And I hope people will get to experience this and be at peace and not. I'm really this close to.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate your joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure. I know I'll be coming back here again and again. I'll be telling all of my friends about it. Um, you know, it's it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's just such a I feel like I'm wrapped up in a cozy blanket on a very cold day. I feel like I'm drinking like hot chocolate and like it's just anyway, please come check out Hemingway and get a chance to meet the lovely staff. And if you're a hardcore introvert and neurodivergent like me, you'll feel right at home here. So thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you soon.